And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? It is We are on the precipice of Thanksgiving here in the United States. Uh, so I know I got a short week coming up this week at work, and I've had a great time in Hearthstone. How's your week been, Avantis?
My week has been fantastic. Played quite a lot of Hearthstone. We'll talk about that a little more as we get into the show notes this week. My son and my friends, with family and friends like them, who needs enemies? They've gotten me back into World of Warcraft right before Shadowlands drops.
I was gonna say you have friends. Oh, they got you into Warcraft. They're not
They're not
friends.
friends. Yeah, no, they've had me playing Warcraft again right before Shadowlands drops tomorrow. We're like,
Is
uh,
it tomorrow? It's tomorrow midnight,
it's
though, isn't it?
no, it's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern,
Oh, so it is. I
three
thought it was
three
Tuesday.
p.m. Pacific.
Okay, so it
So we
is
are
tomorrow at
we are
6 p.m.
currently like 27 hours away from launch as of this time of this recording for Shadowlands.
I know I will enjoy lots of fast food
Yeah,
because I don't expect my wife to cook during this time, and I will probably be picking up her up dinner.
yeah. They gotta make
Because
sure she remembers to eat while
yeah,
she's
yeah,
leveling and raiding.
and
Um,
I also know that we're gonna go see family on Thanksgiving, which means we probably won't spend a lot of extra time up there because
yeah,
she's gonna
yeah.
want to come back quickly and
Well,
play
and on
Shadowlands.
top of all of that, um, about I don't know, less than 48 hours ago, the new Diablo 3 season started. So
I
there
got a notice on that. I thought about
there
jumping
is
back
a
into Diablo.
lot going on. I'm waiting on my son to hit 70 so he can power level his father. You know, the whole reason I had my child was to power level me through Diablo. So,
So, so real quick before we get into our email and our news this week, um, do you think with the pandemic and everything and BlizzCon not being at this time of year, this is why we're kind of seeing an influx, like a almost like a tunneling of content all coming out. I mean, we have the new Hearthstone expansion, we have the new WoW expansion, and Diablo season
yeah,
starting. Many
they're all dropping within a week of each other cuz
yeah now no,
Madness dropped last Tuesday, Diablo on Friday,
normally
Shadowlands on Monday. Yeah.
normally we see the BlizzCon at the first of November,
Yep.
and then something usually comes out just after that, and then we kind of usually it's like a Diablo season or
Yeah,
something,
yeah. And then you got a
and then we start
break.
seeing a trickle down, and then with Hearthstone being kind of one of the final releases that happened in early to mid December. But with no BlizzCon prep, it's like everything's compacted into
Mm-hmm.
November. It's like they're wanting to get it all out before Thanksgiving so that they can have Thanksgiving and Christmas with their families because they're working from home.
Right.
And then they'll be back to the grind in January because they're doing BlizzCon Line in February.
That's right.
So the cadences of Blizzard games is totally off, and I don't know what to expect anymore. Because
We have
we,
seen some massive content drops
yeah,
this week, and yes, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they have been working mostly from home the last few months, and that I feel like that maybe affords them a little more opportunities to push stuff out on their timeline.
yeah, and
Maybe getting it done a little. Now Shadowlands was delayed a little bit. I believe it was
yeah.
originally supposed to launch in like August or September, October somewhere, and it got pushed back. But
Now
I
bringing it back to Hearthstone.
yeah
We just saw the release of the new progression system and the new set, and we should be getting the next uh, Book of Heroes, which I think is Garrosh. If you look at the achievements,
yeah
um, that Book of Heroes should be out soon. They've already said there's going to be another game mode before the end of this cycle, and we have the 35 card mini set going to come out. I suspect probably midway
February ish.
January, early
Honestly
February.
I think it'll be after BlizzCon line.
Do you really think so?
Mm-hmm.
Because BlizzCon Line's the end of February.
Is it?
Yeah, it's February 19th through 21st.
Okay. Well, then it might be before that, but yeah, I expect the 35
I
card drop sometime towards the mid to end of the cycle. So
Yeah, I think early February we get the mid cycle drop, and then they prep us for the next set in if they're bumping things early, we might see the next set in March instead of
hmm
April. And if so, we'll probably get that announced at BlizzCon Line, the
yeah,
new
yeah,
set.
yeah.
And
That's true.
and they've been talking. It was forgotten in one of the Q&As on Reddit that they talked about doing a full system revamp of standard before the next rotation. So
Mm,
they
that's a
haven't talked
lot.
about it
Yeah,
since.
that's true.
We got a lot coming out, and a lot of it's been adjusted because of this pandemic. But yeah, I just want to talk about it briefly because it was just the cadences we're used to. I'm not used to jamming uh, games before Thanksgiving. Usually it's between Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I kind of get it out of my system before Christmas hits. So I'm gonna have this like dead spot in the middle of December that I don't know what to do with. I think unless they come out with something else. So we'll just have to see. It's very interesting. We're in a different world right now.
Yeah.
Uh, we usually base everything off what we hear at the beginning of November at BlizzCon, and there wasn't that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we don't know
exactly.
what to expect.
So, so before we jump into that, we did get a listener email from last week
Yes.
about last week's show. So, thank you, Womp Rat. You know, we love hearing from you guys. He said, just wanted to let Zerotio know that the level 50 rewards track, we talked about that last week.
Mhm.
Zerotio talked about the 4 heroes that he was going to choose from. And Womp says, just wanted to let you know that the level 50 reward track lets you choose one of 10 hero portraits, as there are 2 additional pages of characters to choose from. I also hope the ones that I don't choose this time will remain available for future selections. Love the show. Thank you, Womp
Yeah.
Rat.
Yeah. Thanks, Womp because I didn't notice this. I didn't notice the arrows to switch pages. So I don't know if anybody else didn't notice it like I did. So I wanted to make sure to give Womp a huge shout out and thank you for pointing that out to me. I went into the client and looked at all 10 heroes. Man, I thought my choice was going to be tough anyways, between the 4 I saw, and then I saw Jaina. I'm like, oh, I have to choose Uther first. The Anduin looks awesome. His hair's blowing in the wind. He looks like he's from a boy band. Uh, I I too hope these 10 stay like so next cycle when I go through to level 50. I hope that there's 9 choices with Uther X'd out because I already picked him. I hope obviously they'll eventually have to refresh these because after 10 seasons,
yeah,
which is, I mean, that's 10
that's a
sets.
long
So that's
time.
like
Yeah,
what, 3 years, almost 2.5 years.
yeah, to earn
So,
all of them.
or
Yeah.
no, there's 3 sets a year, right? So yeah, just over three
Well,
years.
I can tell you my first pick is going to either be Earth Fury Thrall or Fellheart Gul'dan.
Oh, both of
Both of
those
those
are
portraits
great.
are gorgeous.
I have to pick Uther first, but my second pick is going to be difficult. And to be honest, just from an art standpoint, I honestly think Uther is the least like lackluster. It's fairly simple. It's
hmm
got, I mean, it looks neat. He looks very robust. His book is glowing, but some of the other ones have more color, more artistry to them. If I wasn't a paladin main, I probably would pick the shaman one.
Yeah.
The thrall one would be my probably my pick, and then maybe uh, Jaina after that because hers is really good.
Yeah.
Lots of color in it.
So
But
so
oh, thanks
that's
again, Womp Rat. We
yeah.
appreciate you
Now
appreciate
now
the email.
those are the heroes that you get to choose when you reach level 50 of the new
Yes.
progression reward system. So there the system's been out now for a little over a week,
Yep.
and there's been a bit of a pushback from the community about the new rewards track system. So Zerotio, what have you been hearing, and what are your thoughts about the
So
rewards track system as of right now?
we talked about this briefly last week because the hubbub had just started. I think it started with Zeddy putting out his video, Solemn put his video out, and that was really all we had at that point. I mean, Reddit was going crazy, of course.
Well, Reddit always goes crazy.
But aside from Reddit, those are the only real public figures that stepped out. Now, I went back and I watched Zeddy's video after the episode last week, and so I agree with a lot of his points, and I very much agree with his math. He did a lot of math on this. Now, some of the math was a little suspect and lowballing, in my opinion, but he was trying to get a point across, which was a very important point. I don't agree with some of his personal stance, and he called out a lot of public streamers and content creators. He says if you have a content creator that has had help and been supported by Blizzard, they're going to lie to you. Those are his exact words. And I felt assaulted, not just as a content creator, but as a supporter of some of these content creators, because there are some very strong content creators I listen to, specifically Regis Kilvin, who also gets a lot of support from Blizzard. And without any of them even putting out content yet, Zeddy kind of put them on the chopping block. And I don't think other content creators should be doing this to each other. So that's my personal opinion on Zeddy's message specifically. But the content he put out did spur a lot of talk in the community. I know Dexter made a video. Regis Kilvin made a video. A lot of different content creators came out. Frodan even came out and put out a tweet that if all these numbers are accurate, then something needs to be done. And Ben Lee actually put out a forum post specifically about this. Like, it had to have been about, so it was Tuesday, I think it was. So a lot of people were complaining Monday that Blizzard hadn't said anything, but this all happened over the weekend. So Blizzard needed time to sit, talk about it, find out what numbers were right, what numbers weren't right, and do some research, and probably had a meeting Monday. And then I think it was, let's see, this post is 5 days old, so yeah, Tuesday. Ben Lee posted to the account Kerfluffle. I love that account name, by the way. And basically, do we want to go ahead and read this whole post? Because I think it's important.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, so it says, we have been listening to your feedback regarding the rewards track, and it's clear we missed the mark in both how we communicated and implemented the full functionality of this first version of our reward system. We apologize for the confusion and disappointment we have caused. During the natural progression of reward cycle, our intention was, and still is, to give out extra XP over time through a variety of ways. The aim is to help players get through the rewards track or catch up if they join later in an expansion phase, ultimately ensuring players earn more rewards. And I want to stop right here real quick. So this is something they were planning, and they're not changing it. They just didn't communicate it, which I can understand. That can happen. Then he says, we also didn't provide any details for how events will link into and support the reward system. We were providing bonus XP for various activities at each seasonal event every expansion cycle, and any additional bonus events as needed, again with the aim of ensuring that our players obtain more rewards. Our failure to communicate these factors has led to incomplete projections, for which we apologize. In addition, you've provided us with a wealth of feedback, and we agree that the pack rewards at the end of the track don't feel appropriate for the effort it takes to get them. We're going to adjust these rewards in the later stages of the track, swapping 6 packs for a total of 1,350 gold that players can spend as they see fit. If any players reach this milestone before we implement these changes, they will be retroactively compensated. Our goal for the rewards track continues to be that all Hearthstone players earn more gold and total rewards per expansion. We've continued to evaluate the impact of these changes, listen to your feedback, and iterate as needed until we get it right. We will stay true to our word and ensure the system lives up to what we all believe Hearthstone deserves. Thank you, Ben Lee, game director. So the part where he says the packs, what he's talking about is later on we saw a lot of Year of the Dragon packs instead of
Gold.
current packs or gold.
Right.
And I think this was as of rank 25 and above rank 26 and above.
Yeah.
All of those, I double checked it today. All of those are now gold. So that change has already been made. They did a hot fix on it. I also said that if there is anything wrong with this system, I have full faith that Blizzard is going to do something to resolve it. And this is telling me they are. Now, a lot of the community isn't really, they're saying this isn't enough. You have to do more. And of course, a lot of people are pitchforking to go back to the way it used to be, but still keep all the achievement progress and stuff that's in there. And that's kind of...
Well, and by when you say the way it used to be, they want the 10 gold for 3 wins to come back.
And they want the regular gold for quests.
Okay.
They want both.
Okay, I hadn't heard that one. I had heard the 10
gold,
I'd heard the 10 gold for 3 wins.
So the 10 gold for 3 wins, I want to speak on that for my feeling. So I ran a heroic duels.
So did I. So did I.
And I got my reward, and I finished up, and I was like, oh, I want to run another one. And I had 145 gold.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. I really could use that 10 gold for 3 wins right now, because I think I could just get on, do 3 wins, get my 10 gold, and do another duels.
Yeah.
And it did feel bad that I didn't have that as an option. But I'm wondering if they want gold to go through their rewards track, and I get that. Maybe every 10 wins you get a bonus in XP, if a small little pocket of XP. Maybe 100 XP or something.
So let's talk about the gold in the rewards track, because that was one of the things you just said they added more gold, but they took away some of the packs. So I just did some quick math. Let's see if I can get this to focus. So I just did some quick math. At the 100 gold reward, you earn 100 gold for nodes between level 6 and level 24. Now, not all of those. There's 12 specifically. So a total of 1,200 gold. From 26 to 34, it increases to 150 gold a win, or 1,150 gold. So there's actually 50 less gold between 26 and 34 than there was from 6 to 24.
But that's how many levels versus 9 levels.
Right, right. Yeah. So then it goes up to 200 gold. This is where there are no packs available in this tier. At 200 gold, from 36 to 44, you earn 1,800 gold. And then it goes up to 300 gold from 45 to 49. That's 1,500 gold, for a total of 5,650 gold available from the reward tier. That's from ranks 6 to 50.
Yep. That sounds a little more in the right direction.
That's basically like that is basically exactly what I was earning completing quests for gold in a 4-month period between expansions. I usually had a little over 5,000 gold every time an expansion released.
So based on your experience, it's not better, but it's about right at the mark.
It's almost exactly where I was previous to this. Now,
so I would like to see a little bit improvement on that. I think the biggest problem we have that I'm personally seeing is, and this goes into our last question, after a week of the new system, what are our stance and feelings at this point? And I'd like to get into that. I feel like the progression starts to really slow, and it feels less about how much gold am I earning, but how much time it takes for me to get experience. Now, I had a lot of people say that they lied, saying we would get 400 gold an hour. or 400. I'm sorry, 400 XP
experience an hour. Yeah.
400 experience an hour. I binged this weekend while I did some other things, and I paid attention to how much I was getting. And after I was timing how much from the time I saw my mulligan pop up to the time I saw the defeat or victory screen. I wasn't counting the time in between queuing or anything like that. And after about an hour of play, I was seeing right at, I think one time I did it showed 376 experience. Another time I did it was 413 experience. So it was right at that 400 mark.
But that's an hour of play time. Not an hour. So like that hour of play with everything going on between queue times and everything else.
I have that number for you too.
An hour and 10 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes.
So after an hour of play, I also saw how much time it took me to get there, and it was approximately an hour, and it was between an hour and 13 and an hour and 17 minutes.
Okay.
So yes, I'm losing about 15 minutes or so of which, I mean, that's a quarter of the time, and that's me queuing or getting up going to the bathroom or doing something else on another screen while I wait to queue my match, because I was also doing my app games at the same time.
Right.
So I can understand where if a streamer is like, I'm streaming for a full hour, for every hour, and I'm not getting 400. Yeah, but you're talking to your chat, and you're looking up stuff on websites. You're talking to them about the set.
You're probably only playing 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, and so that feels bad.
Right, because now if you're a streamer and you're spending half your time talking to your chat, you're getting 400 experience for every 2 hours of actual play of time, because you're only playing for an hour in that 2 hour time period.
Yeah, and that feels bad. And where I said the system felt good to me last week, and it still overall feels good to me. I'm also not a content creator that spends 8 hours of the day playing games.
So I want to propose a new segment on this show going forward where we look at where we are in the rewards track each week, kind of just as a, hey, this is our weekly update. So after the first week, where do you find yourself in the rewards track system currently?
I am, and I meant to mark this down earlier.
I know you're ahead of me.
I am. I know I'm past 25.
Okay.
Because I got my warrior portrait.
Okay. Okay.
The Valkyrie or whatever she is.
And that's something else I want to point out. At rank 25, you get another random legendary like you did at rank 1.
So and that was that I saw that card for some reason. I thought it was an epic. I don't know why. Maybe my eyes were.
I want to point out, I am currently only missing 3 legendaries from having the complete Madness at the Darkmoon Faire set.
I can't say that.
I know for a fact I am.
I was taking one thing I was doing that I realized was probably not right is I was taking all of my rewards every time I hit a reward early on. I was taking those 100 gold and buying a pack and then buying a pack and then buying a pack.
Yeah.
And then I got to where it's starting to slow down XP wise and realized I should have been playing duels.
Right.
Or playing arena.
What I'm going to do is
to answer.
Yeah.
Real quick, to answer your question, I am halfway between reward track 27 and 28.
Okay.
A little more than halfway.
So I've played far less than you this week.
Yeah.
I am currently exactly about 60% through 23.
That's not bad.
So I feel like I'm moving along pretty well. I'm waiting to hit rank 25 to get my random legendary before I craft the last 2 legendaries I need for this set to have the full set. Do you know what you get if you have a full set of Madness at the...
You get a coin.
You get a special alternate art coin.
So something I'm noticing is it's almost like a roller coaster. You get this big long climb and then it flies down and then it's a big long climb again, because when tomorrow I will boost up an XP because I get all my weekly quests, and I have my daily quest on top of my weekly quest. So I get this like burst where I just hit a bunch of XP really quick.
Yeah.
I also started playing a few decks that I hadn't been playing. I started playing more Yogg and Cthulhu decks, and I started hitting those achievements. And some of those Darkmoon Faire card achievements have XP with them. So I
Yes, they
also
do.
hit another pocket of XP that I didn't account for. So that's why I shot up a bit. Also, one thing I didn't know before, there is still a friend, what is it? A duel a friend quest.
Really?
I didn't know there was.
Okay,
And
I didn't know that either until just now. Like I'm
so
learning this as we speak.
the duel a friend quest before, you challenge a friend, and if you have the quest, you challenge a friend, you both would get 80 gold, which so 80% to a pack.
Okay.
Well, I was sitting in game, and friend of the show and member of our patron only Discord that you can be part of over at patreon.com/heropower. Howard the Dave is like, hey, you want a friend request? I was like, oh, I didn't know they existed anymore. So he challenges me, and we play. And when the match was done, I think it was 1,940 experience or something,
Wow.
almost 2,000 experience. And I went, oh my gosh. He goes, that shot me up like a level and a half. I was like, yeah, that got me my next. That's the one I did to get to level 25.
Gotcha.
I was like, whoa. So be on. I would dare say every single day, refresh your quest. Unless you have
Oh,
one of the really high ones, like win seven
that
games or
is
something.
something else I want to talk about. I have found myself every day if I get a quest that's like 900 and something experience, I'm
Now, again,
automatically re-rolling those quests.
when you say 900, it's usually 960. That's because you have the bonus XP.
Yes,
You have
it is.
rewards,
I have
so
the
it's going
bonus
to be less
XP.
than that normally.
Yeah, so
Um,
I'm re-rolling for the quests that give me 1150 experience.
so I used to regularly re-roll the quests that are a win with one of these three classes, and I realize those now are worth higher
Higher
than a lot of the
experience.
other ones. So I was instinctively re-rolling them because I didn't care about the extra 10 gold.
Right.
I wanted a quest I could do with any deck and not have to play a specific deck. Well, now I'm not going to re-roll those
Right.
because those are the higher value ones. But if you get the friend request one, know that you get to share a large chunk of XP with another person.
All right, here's to hoping I re-roll into those or start getting those. So,
So yeah, that's what I would say. Make sure you try to re-roll those, or at least don't roll away from those.
yeah.
Uh, and if you need somebody to play with those or get some people on your friend request,
It's
please
Avanties, hashtag 1932.
go ahead and tweet us at HeroPower_cast. And if we can't do it ourselves, we'll
We'll
find
find
somebody
somebody to
to
friend play
in
with
our
you.
community. And of
Yeah.
course, if you are a part of our Patreon only Discord, we're always having people in there saying, "Hey, I have the friend request. Who wants it?" And people chime up right away. I mean,
Yeah.
that's very sought after. So, in closing on this topic, I want to say I think there are a lot of changes that need to be made. I would like to see maybe a bonus XP for every 3 wins, like we did with the gold, but with XP. Um, it'd be nice if they brought the bonus 10 gold back, but I can understand why, from a marketing standpoint and economic standpoint, they don't want to.
Yeah.
So a bonus XP for every 3 win would be nice.
But I mean, even then, if you still cap it at 100 a day, that still is gonna. I mean, I
It's true.
still think bringing that back would go a long way to putting this
Yes.
new system into a
And
perfect place.
And in an ideal world, I think they should bring that back. I just don't know if, from a marketing and economic standpoint, if the financial department is basically putting a nix on that.
Yeah.
That might be something. What I'm saying is that might be something outside of Team Five's power to change.
Yeah.
Though I do think I said this last week, and I still agree. I think ranks 1 through 10 should give 100 gold at the marks where you get gold and not packs. Ranks 11 through 20 should give 200. Ranks 21 through 30 should give 300, and so forth and so on. so that the last 10 levels give you 500 each, and then your bonus after should give you 250 instead of 150, which is half of the 500.
Yeah.
And I think that would be enough growth alone that would satisfy the players that are complaining about not getting enough gold.
Okay.
Now, will it be significantly more than what we were getting? I believe it will, but I think that would satisfy people. The people that can't make it all 50 levels would still feel as if they got
Right.
their rewards worth. And the people that do make it all 150 levels will be extremely happy because they feel rewarded for the amount of time they're putting in the game.
Well, I can tell you personally, I am going to make a concerted push for rank 50 as soon as possible.
I'm more than halfway there.
Yeah, you are already more than halfway there, and I'm very close to being halfway there. I need a level and a half or level and 40% to get there. So
I was worried that I didn't think that I could get up to 50.
I honestly, I think I'll get there with this week's.
Time.
I think I'll get there with this week's weekly quests.
Get all the way to 50?
No, get to 25 to the halfway point.
Yeah, I think I can get to 50. It's probably going to be middle of January, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And personally, from a feeling, I still like the system. I love the achievements. I love the. I don't necessarily like the amount of rewards, but I like how the rewards feel when I get them. I've been hitting. Yesterday, I was just doing achievements all day. I think I'm up over 11,000 achievement points.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna have to craft cards for some of the old ones, but that's a whole nother time. I like the system. I do think it needs to be iterated on and more player friendly. And I think some of these content creators are putting out really good information and ways, productive feedback that Ben Lee and the Team 5 team can use to make it better. And I'm hoping we are too. But I'm not as outraged as some of the other people in the community. And that's just personally. I'm not saying they shouldn't be outraged.
Yeah.
Because if you feel outraged, go to Reddit, go to the forums, and be constructive about it. I do, and I will, and this may be very unpopular. I believe Zeddies, while very informative and got this fire started, it wasn't very productive. However, Dexter, Regis, Solom, a few of the other content creators put out very productive videos talking about it and how it can be fixed, not just bashing Blizzard for making a change.
Yeah.
And I commend those content creators for doing that and taking that baton that Zeddy passed off and making some good ground with it. And hopefully, seeing this response from Ben Lee, it will all work out. And I have faith it will.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us to our next topic, which is the set has now been live for a week.
We got cards. I forgot.
Yeah, we got cards.
That's the overall feeling is that, a lot of people were complaining about the progression system and the new rank system and even the positives about the achievements and the duels and all this stuff, that the new cards came out and it was kind of like an afterthought.
We're in a new meta, and
a very new meta.
Yeah. Now that it's been out for a week, how do you feel the meta has been impacted?
So I'm still seeing remnants of the old meta a little bit. There's some variations on Soul Demon Hunter. There's some variations on some Galakron decks, which is even not even last meta, but the meta before that. So it's like this revives some of the Galakron cards. But ultimately, you're seeing old gods in just about every deck. You're seeing a lot of the new mechanics in Corrupt in the decks. I expected Paladin to kind of be one of the front runners, and it really hasn't. It's still very good, don't get me wrong, and it's one of the top performing decks. But when it comes to what you see on the ladder, I'm seeing less Paladin. I'm seeing more Druid, Shaman, classes that kind of fell off, Mage, and it's really revitalized this meta, and I'm enjoying it. So they made a Shaman recipe deck. Have you seen the Shaman recipe deck yet?
I have. I have not played with it,
I
but
have
I
played
have
with it a
seen
lot,
it. Yeah.
and I have a positive win rate with it. I think I'm sitting at like a 67% win rate with it. It is a Galakron Corrupt OTK deck. They
Okay.
built an OTK combo deck in the recipes, and I can't be more giddy and happy about it.
Called Corrupted Waters.
So it's the quest. So you have the double battle cries,
Uh huh.
and basically your goal is to get your corrupted cards corrupted and play them. You have the medic, which does 4 damage when it's corrupted, and you have dunk tank, which does 4 damage and 2 damage to the board when it's corrupted. So
Yeah.
then you either front load it with tour guide, or you use your hero power and uh, play lightning bloom followed by your charge to get your medics and your dunk tanks for free,
Okay.
which are double battle cried for the medic. So each
Yeah.
medic does 8 damage. So just the medics alone is 32 damage from hand.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it is so much fun. It does run into some
I
walls,
want to
especially
point
with
out
druid.
this deck calls for 6 legendary cards.
Yes,
Or
it
five.
does.
5 legendary cards. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Yeah, 6 legendaries. This is huge for a recipe deck.
Yeah,
In fact, the
it's
only one I'm
amazing.
missing is Instructor Fireheart from crafting this deck.
And honestly, the instructor Fireheart is not necessary. I very seldom I've considered cutting it from the deck because it's not that much needed.
Yeah, yeah. But it does. It looks like a blast. A lot of fun to play.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. We're not going to be playing that deck this week,
No.
but I'm seeing I have played. Oh, I played a lot of different decks, but from a meta standpoint, I'm seeing so much variety and so much testing going on, and obviously being the first week, you have the deck that everybody it says needs to be nerfed right away, and then all of a sudden counters start coming out. Aggro's back, combos back, control is even back. You can play just about any style that you want to play and be
Yeah,
successful right now.
yeah. So with that in mind, what have you been playing this
So
week?
I started playing Paladin.
Obviously, you
I had like
said
four
last
different.
week on the show you were going to make a paladin deck, and then when you were done with that, you were going to make a paladin deck, and then when you were done with that, you were going to make a paladin deck,
Yep.
and then once
Well,
you
I
had
stopped
played
there.
all 3 of those paladin decks, you were going to make a 4th paladin deck.
So I played 3 Paladin decks, and then I was still on day one, and I was like, this is fun, but I'm seeing all these really cool things across the board from me. I want to try out. So I checked out the recipe deck. I played lots of different warlock variants. I went right into Ticketus because I opened him early, and enjoyed Ticketus a lot. It's really good. It has the problem with Ticketus is by the time you get the Ticketus chain off, if sometimes your opponent just goes, well, I'm just going to beat you. I don't need any more cards to beat you. And that's what I found out pretty much early is that it's not stopping you from losing the game. It's just giving them no more tools to beat you. Um, but then I went on to try a few other decks, and I asked you guys, what do you want to play? Because I can't pick. And Matt at Arms kind of shot us that Clown Druid, which we're going to play this week. It's fairly simple. And the reason I want to play that deck this week, and we'll talk more about it, is because I don't know how long it will be in the meta. I think people are going to find counters for it right away. But right now, I've literally played all 10 classes, and I finished with the 10 classes. I go back to the first one again.
Yeah, yeah.
I have wiped my decks out so many times to make room for more decks.
So I started on day 1 playing something I never thought I would. And that was Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunter?
Yeah. So
Which Demon Hunter were you playing?
I opened a Golden Il'gynoth.
Mm.
And so I built OTK Lifesteal Demon Hunter.
Okay, so you went the full not Not the OTK version that's basically Soul Demon Hunter with the OTK, the full lifesteal version.
Yes, I went the full lifesteal version. So Il'gynoth, it's literally like a 6 card combo. You go Il'gynoth into double Moarg Artificer,
Yeah,
into
yeah.
Mana Reservoir, into double Fell Scream Blast for like 48 points of damage.
Yeah, that I looked up that deck and it's showing a 43% win rate
Oh
on
yeah, yeah. It's really hard to get off, but when you do, the level of salt from the other side is unparalleled.
What I'm seeing successful though is this Soul Demon Hunter that just has Elganoth in it,
Yeah.
and you set it up so you have uh the Eldrachi Warblades,
Yes, I
and
built that
then
version too.
and then you play him and get up to 15 damage and just OTK that way. Um,
Yeah,
it's a little
I actually
more
have
difficult.
both versions of that deck in my list right now. If you could see my list, you'd see Lifesteal and Lifesteal 2.0. Both of those decks are in my list right now.
So you're enjoying that first. So my question for you is, comparatively to Year of the Dragon and Year of the Phoenix, so this year and last year set releases, where do you rank it in comparison to the other, what would that be, 5 sets that are in the rotation now on release day?
Oh gosh. That's tough. I'm having a lot of fun with this set. Probably the most fun I've had since Frozen Throne,
Wow.
when we got to play with
So
Death Knights.
you think
I
this is
loved Death Knights.
you think this is a more fun set than say Scholomance and Ashes?
Definitely. Definitely
Okay.
more. I'm having
See,
more fun
that's
than Scholomance. And now I had fun with Scholomance, but
yeah,
I'm having way more fun than I did with Scholomance. Ashes, I didn't really play a whole lot of early because that was a set I didn't buy a whole lot of cards for.
yeah.
I'm
That
missing,
was when they introduced Demon
yeah.
Hunter.
So I'm missing quite a bit from Ashes, and prior to that, even going back,
See,
I did buy. Okay, I would say prior to this, but before, so between Darkmoon Faire and the Frozen Throne, this is probably the most fun I've had since probably Rise of Shadows.
yeah, see, I think I liked Scholomance and Ashes. Well, Ashes brought us Librams. Uh, but I like those 2 sets a lot,
Uh huh.
and I just I like this one better, and I think it's because of the old gods. And I do want to point out there are still quite a few bugs that they're going to have to do hot fixes for. Uh, a lot of times when Yogg's wheel goes, it locks up the game, and you have to wait for it to reconnect. And there's obviously a lot of challenges on the engineering side that they're going to have to resolve and fix, and I hope they do very timely.
Yeah.
But other than those kind of distractions, I'm loving the feel of the old gods. I think they reborn Whispers of the Old Gods uh, in a very creative way
Mm-hmm.
that isn't overpowered. I was afraid that they were going to make them so strong that they would have to do the Gen Baku treatment. Next rotation, they'd say, "Hey, all the old gods are going to Hall of Fame," and unfortunately, I don't think that's the case. While Yasharj is very powerful, it takes a lot of setup. Nazoth is taking a ton of setup, and people are finding out that it's not always worth it if they accidentally fill their hand and burn one of the Nazoth spells. Boom, Nazoth is gone.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of people use that counter play where if they think you're playing this off, they'll fill your hand up, try to get you to burn cards. And I like that interactivity
Mm-hmm.
where people can tech their decks in ways to maybe put cards into your hand. So I think this set is the first time in a long time that they've made a set for everybody. Your aggro players, your control players, your OTK combo players. The like Matt and I like to say, the Timmy, Johnny, and Spikes.
Right.
All three of those players right now are enjoying this set, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I can't say that about the two sets this year and the three sets last year. I think there's always been at least one of those three types of players that's felt left out. I know I, as an OTK combo deck, have felt left out all year, ever since I haven't been able to play Holy Wrath Paladin anymore. And that deck didn't become really into fruition until Rosticon's Rumble.
Right.
So after Rosticon's Rumble, I've just felt like I haven't been given anything I really enjoy. And once that set rotated out this year, I really haven't been able to play a deck that suits me all year until now. And now I have like a plethora of decks to choose from.
Yeah.
And I'm just really, really enjoying this set. It's right now is probably the highest I have felt about Hearthstone since Frozen Throne. I would agree with you. Frozen Throne is probably the last time I felt this good. Yeah. And that was a really good set. That brought us the hero cards.
Yeah. Well, we will we'll see how it continues to go, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun right now in the game. I'm playing a lot more than I have in the past, and I'm really
duels. And we haven't talked about duels.
Yeah, no, I did my first heroic duel this week. Got Paladin, got 7 wins, and got like 185 gold out of it.
You and I need to do a co-op with of a heroic run, because I'm not getting it, and I'm not doing bad. I think I got 6 runs once, and I got 4 runs another time, but I'm just something in the deck building I'm not getting, and I need help with that.
Sure.
But speaking of duels, we have a new event coming up.
Yes.
On Twitch and YouTube.
This Tuesday, November 24th.
Yeah, November. Wow, that's Tuesday. Oh my gosh, time is just flying. This has been the longest year, but like I felt like August 1st was yesterday. Darkmoon Duel-Fest is November the 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And it's going to be broadcast on both the Play Hearthstone Twitch and YouTube. Links to all that's going to be in our show notes. It's going to have 24 content creators and pro players competing in duels for a $200,000 prize pool. The casters are going to be Soddle and Darroch, and the format is last duelist standing.
Yep.
So players are going to play through 3 closed circuit duels runs. And what that means is they're only going to be playing in pools with the other 23 players in this event until one player remains or more than one person reaches 12 wins. So the final scores decided after all 3 runs have been completed will decide who wins the prizes. But one thing that sticks out to me is they're doing this on a closed circuit.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of the same way they did the Battlegrounds tournaments prior to rolling it out for everybody, where you just had these players playing on like a private server where they're queuing up with each other. So yeah, that's probably what we're going to see here, but it opens it up to an interesting question. Eventually they made Battlegrounds 8-person events. Do you think we could see that for duels in the future?
I mean, if you think about it, they have the technology in there for 8 players to queue into one pool of players. Mm-hmm. Now they're using this for Battlegrounds, but who's to say they can't create an 8-player lobby for multiple modes? And now, right now, in Constructed, it'd be hard because not only you need an 8-player lobby, you need ways to do bracketing and people to mix up your challenges based on wins and losses. So and that's a tournament mode, and that's something we've been told we're not going to see, and I think eventually we will, but I think it's too soon to get something like that. However, if they gave an 8-player lobby for duels, it basically just randomizes who you're going to play against and make sure that everybody gets matched against somebody. I don't think it's too far to put this in the client.
Yeah, I don't either. And this would be, again, something I, as an innkeeper, would love to do at a fireside gathering when we can meet in person again in the future.
So imagine even if, and this might be going a little too far, but because it kind of implies a gambling element, but if everybody did their 150 gold like they would play a heroic, but then the prize pools are based on that 150 per person. Again, that's
Yeah.
probably a little far fetched because it's gambling. Could be considered gambling in some states and countries.
It'd
But I
be
would love,
so if everybody puts in 150 gold, that's 1,200 gold in an 8-player
yeah.
pool.
I mean, it's just disseminating the gold out differently.
Right,
But
right.
even if they made it so that all 8 players were just queued into a casual duels setting, obviously they're not going to go into the casual duels ladder. But you just build your deck, you get your 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 treasures and your buckets, and then that's it.
Yeah.
That would be really neat if you could do that at fireside gatherings or for online community tournaments. I know Coin Concede listener series would love to do something like this because they're already enjoying the battlegrounds
Yeah.
uh, lobbies. So do you think this is something we could see?
I I do. I absolutely do. I think doing 8-player lobbies for duels is on their. I would like to believe it's on their roadmap for the future, and because duels has been pretty well received so far. I feel like,
Yeah,
my personal opinion, I'm having a blast with it. Sounds like you're enjoying it. So I mean,
I'm enjoying. I'm not good at it. It's like
yeah. Well,
battlegrounds. I'm not great at it, but I'm
I'm
enjoying it.
totally down for doing a co-op duel with you anytime. Let me know, and we'll work it out.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't think this was something that would be on the radar, but then I saw that they're doing these in a closed circuit duels pool. And again, it's different technology than we would apply, but anytime they do something like this, even when they did the battlegrounds little mini tournaments on a closed circuit, what's the first thing the community said? We want this. And what
Yes.
did they do? They gave it to us. And I
Yeah.
think people are going to see this Tuesday and say, wow, I want this. I want to play duels with my friends. Or
Yeah.
even if I could just challenge you to a duels match.
Right.
And we do
Right.
it like casual. We build our decks and do our treasures and we both play until one of us gets 3 losses or something. I don't know. It's it seems fun. It seems doable. I don't know if 8-player lobbies would be enough. Maybe there's a break point in the number system with losses. Maybe you have to have 24. I don't know. I just want something like this in client, and this gives me hope we could see something like this.
Yeah.
And I love tournaments.
Speaking of tournaments, there's a big one coming up very soon. Uh,
Yeah,
December 12th and 13th, we'll have the 2020 Hearthstone World Championships.
this has snuck up on me. I was like, I know this is coming, but why are they doing a lot of these promos? And I looked at the calendar. Whoa, we're only like 3 weeks away. Isn't it like 3 weeks?
It's let's see, 7, 14, exactly 20 days or 21 days from today.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. It's going to be broadcast on the Hearthstone YouTube channel, like all of
Only.
the
Yeah.
yeah, only not on Twitch and YouTube, like the Duels-Fest event. It's only on YouTube channel, and there. So I'm I'm really impressed with how they're starting to get hype for this. So they put out a blog post that was an interview with championship contender Bloodyface, and it gave their full bio. They broke down questions for him, questions and answers, and I was like, "Wow, this is so cool!" Because now we personally know Bloodyface. Brian has started coming into our venues and is a local player out of Eastern United States. What 2016, I
Yeah,
think it was,
2016 was the
and they
first
even
time
talk
he
about this.
competed with us.
They even talk about this in the blog posts, and it's really nice to get kind of a personal feeling. Like a lot of these questions they asked him, like I knew how he was going to answer because I know him. I'm a mod in his Twitch channel, and we know him. So it was like, wow, this is really neat. It allows other people to feel like they know Bloody Face the way we do. And then they put out the second one with Monsanto, and I'm liking these. I hope they do one for every player. Monsanto's is very cheeky. We have the link to both of these in the show notes, so you head over our show notes at heropowerhs.com and check these out. But a couple of little highlights is one of the questions asked was, "What does becoming world champion mean for you?" And he says, "It would mean it's all downhill from here. Probably not the best outcome. Money though." So it's really funny. He's very cheeky. A lot of his comments. That's Monsanto's personality. A lot of his answers. One of the answers to why did you think you were going to win the 2020 World Championship? He says, "I got a very powerful hat." So it's like, he's very cheeky, tongue in cheek, very different from Bloody Face's answers, which are more to just Bloody Face's professionalism in the sport and what he means. I love. Did you read these blogs?
No, I was actually just looking over it as we were discussing it. But yeah, they do look like they were put together pretty well.
I like them, and I want to see one for every player.
Yeah.
And it looks at the cadence they're going. We're going to see them all probably the rest of this week and next week, kind of trickle out. There is no official notice on the World Championship schedule other than it's 12th and 13th. I'm guessing it will be all remote, especially since California just went into lockdown. Yesterday they implemented the new curfew, so I don't anticipate we're going to have a local LAN, which is kind of sad. I like seeing them sitting across from each other, but I'm sure the casters will do a great job in making this feel very personable. The 8 players involved, and I'm excited. I'm excited for these blogs, and I'm also excited to find out who our world champion of 2020 is actually in the year of 2020.
Right.
This is kind of normally lately, because of the way they've done cadences with BlizzCons, they have been doing them like later in the following year, and the meta's changed, new sets are out, and I'm glad it's so close to a new set. It's only a month out, and the meta is going to be fairly fresh, and this is kind of where people like Bloody Face excel.
Yes.
And we've not pulled any punches. We've never hidden the fact that we're very biased towards Bloody Face and Language Hacker. But in this case, because he's in the championship, Bloody Face is definitely who we're going to be rooting for, because he's been on this show multiple times. He's a close personal friend of both of ours. We saw him start in 2016. Every single year he's gotten better. Like, he's progressed better, where last year he was at the World Championship, or the 2 years ago he was at the World Championships. Last year he made it to the finals of the World Championship, only being defeated by VK Lion in the finals. And if you're going to be better than last year, that means you have to win. And I think this is Bloody Face's year.
I agree.
I'm excited for it.
I look forward to watching the tournament.
So. I will make no plans that weekend other than sitting and watching Hearthstone esports. And I haven't been able to say that for a while.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which is Servant of Yogg-Saron tryouts. Help Yogg-Saron find a servant. Your deck is full of wannabes who cast a random spell at a random target when played. So this was a one and done for me. I got in, got my pack. It was like, okay, no thanks.
This was a one turn and done for me.
Okay.
I played, I can't remember, it was a one mana minion. I don't even remember what it was. It was in my deck. And it played, what's the name of that spell? Conjurer's Calling. The 8 mana mage spell. Summons 2 6-drops.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it either.
It played that on turn 1, and I just had the name in my head. And then I don't remember what I summoned from it because before the summoning even completed, my opponent had conceded.
Power of Creation. That's
Yeah,
the card.
it played Power Creation on turn 1, and before I could even see what was created, it yeah.
Okay.
My opponent portrait blew up.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us to this week's deck list. As we talked about
We're
earlier,
playing a deck this week.
We are getting to play a deck this week, finally. And let me tell you, it is a Clown Fiesta, because that is actually the name of the deck, Clown Fiesta. This deck was brought to us by our good friend Matt at Arms.
Yes.
And so I'm going to run down the deck list, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll go play it. So we have 2 Innervates, 2 Lightning Blooms, 2 Nature Studies, 2 Guess the Weight, which is one of my favorite cards in this set. I love this card. Then we have 2 Moon Touched Amulets, 2 Wild Growth, 2 Overgrowth, 2 Anubisath Defenders, 2 Overflows, 2 Strongman, 2 Umbral Owl, 2 Cenarian Ward, 2 Carnival Clown, 2 copies of Survival of the Fittest, and then, of course, our old gods, Yogg-Saron and Yasarj.
Yeah, so this has both Yogg-Saron and Yasharj in it. I have seen versions of this deck with just Yasharj in it. They don't run both old gods. The benefit of having 2 old gods is sometimes you can need Yogg-Saron to pull from behind and still need something to activate your Carnival Clown. So that is in place for that reason. This deck is. I told Matt at Arms it felt mindless and doesn't have a lot of thought to it, and I feel like I was right for the most part. There were some normal ways of playing Hearthstone that I did and basically lost games because of it. At one point, I had Carnival Clown in my hand. I was setting up, so I was like, let me Survival of the Fittest, and then I'll Carnival Clown next turn, fill the board, win the game. Well, I drew into Nature Studies, and I was like, oh, wait, I can Nature Studies, and then just play Survival of the Fittest. And I did. And then next turn, I played my Carnival Clown, and he wasn't corrupted. And then I realized, I reduced the Survival of the Fittest to 9 mana. Therefore, I didn't corrupt the Carnival Clown.
Right.
So you kind of have to play what we have been taught in Hearthstone suboptimally in some turns. So you might have to almost teach yourself how to replay Hearthstone and not so much Curvestone to be able to be good with this deck. And it did lose me the game because he was able to remove all 3 of my clowns where he wouldn't have been able to. He had a removal for 3 minions, not for the whole board. So that lost me the game. So I still have a slight losing win rate, and I think some of that is my learning of this deck. So I want to play it more. The main reason I want to play this deck is to show people how it's played so you can know how to beat it. It is beaten by aggressive strategies rather well because you're spending the first 5 or 6 turns ramping up and setting up for your big turns.
Right.
And then heavy, greedy control decks beat this. I have a control warrior that does really well against this. My paladin doesn't do bad against it because it has board clears. Not the pure version, but the one that has Barov and Wild Pyro and things like that in it because I can clear multiple boards. And I think once priests realize you just put 2 Shadow Word Ruins in your deck and beat this deck with a 4-mana spell, that this deck is going to go away from the meta. Now, a couple stars, Guess the Weight is probably one of the best card draws I've seen in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
I really underestimated this card. It was like, how would you have to build a deck that would consistently draw you the second card for 2 mana. And this is how you build the deck.
Right.
Oftentimes I'll get a Lightning Bloom or Innervate, and I know it's got to be higher. Or I'll get Survival of the Fittest, Yogg, or Ushard, and I know it has to be lower.
Yeah.
Very seldom. I think there's only been maybe once or twice that I've gotten like Overgrowth or Anubis Defender,
yeah.
and I had to roll the punches. But I have yet to not guess the card once, and I've probably played it at least 12.5 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I got that achievement.
It's been really good. I like it a lot. I've been having a lot of fun with Guess the Weight as well. So
now the underperforming cards in this deck, I would probably say if you were wanting to cut any cards for tech, maybe survivability, I would cut the Umbral Owls. Often they're free, but when you need to use them, you haven't played the Survival of the Fittest yet, so they're just a 4/4 with Rush.
Yeah.
So they're great after you play Survival of the Fittest in late game, but usually you're going to win that game anyway, so you don't need the Umbral Owls. So if I was going to cut anything, I would cut Umbral Owls. The Moontouch Amulet's another card that I really was surprised how good it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's corrupted. If you're having to play it uncorrupted, you're probably in trouble.
That's true. Now, the times I've had to play Moontouched Owl corrupted and clear a minion, there have been times it's like I can play the Moontouched Amulet or I can play the Umbral Owl. Yeah. They're both clearing a 4 health minion. But the Moontouched Amulet always felt better, even when the Umbral Owl was free.
Yeah.
So I would truthfully, and that's another thing. Cenarian Ward I thought wasn't going to be very good, and it's great. It usually get right on curve when I need to corrupt my strongman. So I play the Cenarian Ward. I get usually a bad 8-drop.
Well, see, that was the thing. We talked about during our card review about the 8-drops being a pretty decent class.
I thought they were decent, but I've been getting some bad drops.
Like I've been getting really good drops.
See, I've been getting bad ones, but the reason I like this card, because usually I can turn around and play a 7/7 with Taunt right behind it, or Strongman. Is he a 6/6?
I got the
6/6.
What's the 8/8 giant, the Snow Fury giant or whatever?
Ooh, yeah. That's good.
So
that's occasionally I will get the 6/6 that gives Mega Wind Fury.
Yeah.
Actually, I say occasionally. I think I've gotten it like 3 or 4 times.
I'm excited to see if we can get you to get it on the show today.
Yeah, that'd be. But ultimately, I think this is a good deck right now. I expect counters to it. This is what I expect from this deck. I think this deck is going to get countered. And then in about 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even at World Championships, we're going to see a new teched version where people have taken out some of the suboptimal cards, put in the better cards, and then all of a sudden it's top tier again.
So straight up, this deck struggles against aggro because you have to ramp hard and fast. I will tell you, the first 2 games I played with this deck, I saw 0 ramp in my first 5 turns. You're just dead.
If you are playing against a deck that plans to win by turn 6, you are probably going to lose.
Yes.
That's just the nature of this deck. It needs those early turns. Now, like I said, you have some survivability. The nature studies will usually get you removal or get you more ramp to ramp even faster.
Yeah.
Use those lightning blooms. If you think you're against an aggressive deck, you want to mulligan hard for anything ramp.
Right.
So you want to get your innervates. You want to get your lightning blooms. You want to get those overgrowths and wild growths. You want to get up. I've been able to get a board full of 8/8 Carnival Clowns on like turn 7 with this deck.
Wow.
But not any earlier than 7. So if I'm dead before 7, then it doesn't help me.
Right. So, all right. Well, I'm looking forward to watching you play it because I know the luck I've had with this deck has not been great, and it sounds like you've had a little bit better luck with it. So I'm looking forward to watching you play it and see what I'm doing wrong. So
Yeah, I think I'm 6-9 with it, which isn't very good, but I can equate at least 2 of those losses to me not knowing the deck well enough.
well, I took this deck and I went from silver 2 to silver 5 with it. So, you know,
Not very far.
yeah. So, all right, guys, if you are joining us, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. And we will see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty. So
Let's get it.
let's do this. Let me know when you...
I am hitting the button, which I've done a lot of lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 145 gold is just taunting me. Like if you only had 5 more gold.
Yeah,
you could do
I'm currently
run.
at 320 gold because I did buy a few more packs.
I realize I'm going to just save my gold now to do duels runs.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
Hey, Liver Lips.
All right, so we have a shaman. And wow. Do we have ramp? Do we throw back one overgrowth?
Yeah, I think we might. So this is what we have. We have nature studies on 1. That makes wild growth 2 mana on turn 2. Which means we'll be on turn 3, we'll be at 4 mana, which means we overgrowth. We don't need the second overgrowth.
Right. We actually don't need the coin either, but
no, we don't need the coin either.
We can save the coin.
We might need the coin to do an early survival of the fittest.
Yes,
depending on what we need. Draw. I would like that
do.
card to be replaced with guess the weight, maybe.
Okay.
Innervate.
So now we're still looking at hopefully an early big spell.
There's another wild growth. Wow. So we're gonna nature studies this turn.
Yeah. Hidden Oasis.
I think it's a taunt or some heal. Claw is just another cheap spell to fuel something like Yogg and Umbral Owl.
Yeah, I was thinking
it can clear a taunt.
We'll get to 6 pretty quick if we need the taunt, but
yeah, let's take the Hidden Oasis. This is a deck I've been having trouble with. It is most likely, and wow, he has the Thrall. I think that's the level 35 Thrall.
I don't.
30.
Is it?
I haven't gotten it yet. It's the one I want.
So wild growth.
You see overgrowth at 3 mana. The instinct is to coin into overgrowth.
But
you do not want to do that.
Do not want to do that. Yeah.
So, we're gonna go ahead and wild growth.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking ahead what we're gonna need. Future. This is most likely the Evolved Shaman, which is very popular right now.
Yes.
Oh wow, Scenario.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I think we just
we're just gonna overgrowth.
Which puts us at 6. And we could actually Cenarian Ward next turn with the coin and the Innervate.
We can.
Actually, with just the coin.
Yeah, just a coin. We can. We might want... If we draw into any draw...
There's the Revolve.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Well... Oh, Survival of the Fittest.
Okay. 7, 8, 9 mana.
So if we...
Do we
wild
just
growth...
Hidden Oasis?
If we wild growth and overgrowth this turn... We can Survival of the Fittest next turn.
Well, I mean,
Question
we
is, are
could
we going to want?
we can survival of the fittest next turn with just the coin and the innervate.
That's true. But we don't have a Carnival Clown in our hands, so I
don't.
think we're going to want to save the Wild Growth and the Overgrowth for draw.
Okay.
So I think you're right. I think we just hid an Oasis
for the taunt.
Just for the taunt, and then we're probably going to Scenario Ward next turn.
So what about this? Hear me out. You've done that. And we're going to use the Overgrowth and the Wild Growth for draw. So why not use the coin to hero power down the 1/1?
The 1/1's going to die from Lord Barrel already.
Okay.
Because I don't think that matters. Because
well, it won't die from Lord Barrel. He'll run something in. He'll run in the 1/1, the 2. Yeah. Okay.
See,
well.
the reason I didn't want to do that is because what he would want to do is trade the 2/3/3s in, but now that he has to use his face first, he can't trade any other minions because they've been evolved.
Yeah, but it would have gotten rid of that frog.
I guess that's kind of fair. Can we get the Emerald out?
Do you want to do the survival of the fittest now?
We can.
I mean, yes, we don't have the. Or
and actually, we'll have
you could Cenarian Ward now.
I like Innervate Coin Survival, so that the Umbral Owl will be free and it'll be
it'll be big, yeah.
I know we don't get the Carnival Clown right now, but we might not need a full board of one. So I think this goes into the 5/6.
And do you go face with the other one?
I think we want to get rid of Vargoth.
Okay.
Specifically Vargoth, though, because if he casts a spell, we don't want it getting cast again at the end of the turn. We don't want to revolve into revolve.
Right. Yeah, that would be bad.
And again, he's probably going to want to put his face into that taunt.
I don't think so. I think he'll run either the 3/6 and 1/3 or the 5/4 into it to clear it.
He might cast a spell, which the thing is if he doesn't use his face, he's losing minions.
Which is not an issue here, yeah.
He'll use his face on the 8/3.
Mutate.
But see, that doesn't do anything.
No, he's not going to use his... Oh, yeah, he will. Okay.
Yeah. So this gives us 4 8/8s. Or 3 8/8s, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it gives us 3 8/8s.
But it doesn't give us anything corrupted.
So do we Cenarian Ward here, or...
I think we might need a Cenarian Ward. The question is, see, I want to draw, but if we just draw, we're probably dead.
Right.
Cenarian Ward's going to give us 8 armor and then a big minion he has to deal with. And we can't always Carnival Cloud next turn if we have to. I think, at least with the Optimistic Ogre, we don't know where it's going to attack. So I think we Cenarian Ward.
Okay.
I don't think there's any taunts for 8 mana. Is there? Oh,
that's good.
So
what do you want to clear?
The biggest is the Optimistic Ogre, but the Stormwind Champion is buffing. So let's get rid of Stormwind Champion.
Okay.
Because that takes a total of 8 power off the board.
Yeah.
I mean, so would the Optimistic Ogre, but... His deck's just so hard. It has so many reloads.
Right.
Revolve?
No
revolve. Ooh, the Strongman. So we can play the Carnival Clown and the Strongman together.
Yes, we can.
Or, again, it's not corrupted, but at least
it's still... We've still going to have 4 big taunts.
Yeah.
That he's going to have to deal with.
And if he doesn't deal with them, he loses.
Yeah.
And this deck doesn't really run removal. Like, he's going to have to use his face on one of these minions and hope he gets something like big and devastating or a bunch of taunts.
That's lethal.
Win.
Yeah.
There we go. Again, this wasn't the most optimal line, but I mean, it won.
Yeah, exactly.
And that deck is right now real popular, and it can burn you fast if you're not careful.
Yes.
Without the ramp, I don't think that early. I don't think we won that game.
All right.
And my client's hanging up. Bear with me. The client's been very clunky lately. It's been timing out a lot. There it goes. I think I had a problem reporting my quest. It hung up. I also still have blue stacks running in the background, so let me kill it.
Yeah, that'll eat up a lot of resources.
I forgot it was still. I've been really hitting Marvel Strike Force the last 2 days. That's pretty much all I've been doing and playing Hearthstone on the side. So anytime I see a lightning bloom, oh my god. I can't keep the Carnival Clown, Lightning Bloom, and the Survival. I just can't do it.
No.
I want. If I thought I was playing against like a priest or something,
we're up against a demon hunter, so
I would possibly do this. I think we keep the Lightning Bloom.
I don't know. Maybe we keep the Survival too.
I think we win by getting ramp and then draw. And if we get draw, we get to Survival the Fittest.
Okay.
I think we want to keep the Lightning Bloom so we can get that early ramp if we can. Like there's the Overgrowth.
Yeah.
And
guess the weight. Yeah.
So we can actually Overgrowth on one.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
I'm actually thinking the possibility of guess the weight on one into Lightning Bloom Overgrowth on two.
I don't hate that line. That even
depending on what we draw from the guess the weight. Oh well, now we have the nature studies. We actually have a legit turn one play.
Yeah. Look. Okay. So what if we coin nature studies? Guess the weight.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. Do it.
Because you want to coin
first.
The reason we're coining first is because the coin would waste Bog Beam. We're gonna need the Bog Beam.
Yeah, Bog Beam, and then guess the weight.
The weight. It's obviously gonna be higher.
Higher, yeah.
Boom, done.
Nubasoth, okay.
Yeah, the guess the weights are. I mean, how often I hit Lightning Bloom or a 10 drop is crazy.
Yes, it is.
So now we have a world where we don't feel bad coining into Overgrowth or Lightning Blooming into Overgrowth, because Overgrowth is going to activate our Moontouch Amulet.
Yep.
And
we have both Moon-touched amulets, so
we do. So let's go ahead and Lightning Bloom into Overgrowth. This will allow us to Moontouch Amulet next turn.
Yep.
Moontouch down to 2/3. Going wide is tough on this deck. Pretty much the only way you stop going wide is getting a circle Carnival Clown out.
Yeah. All right.
Moontouch
Amulet. Of course, now we can't down the 2/3.
We can if we Lightning Bloom into Hero Power.
Okay, that's fair enough. That puts us on 4 mana next turn.
It does, and we're probably just gonna Moontouch Amulet again.
Okay.
This is so he can't do some shenanigans like damage himself and give it a Divine Shield or something. This is the aggressive list. that I've seen because they're running the beaming sidekicks.
Yeah,
This is a bad matchup. So I'll
it
tell you that
is.
right off the bat. It is a bad matchup for us.
Okay.
We're going to Moon Touch down to 2-3 again. Getting a lot of draws. I want a overflow
Yes.
because we could overflow in Anubisath and we could also Bog Beam.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was afraid was. Well, that only does our enemies, doesn't it? So okay, it's fine. We're gonna Bog Beam down the Voracious Reader.
Yes, I agree. Remove his draw power.
Overflow. Come on, give us overflow. Survival.
So, just Bog Beam and hard play the strongman.
That or the Anubisath, but I think the Strongman's probably it's gonna be better. So we Bog Beam down the Voracious Reader.
Yeah.
That's happening. And then I think we hard play the Strongman. I don't like not corrupting it, but we only need one more spell for Yogg.
Wow.
Which in this matchup, I have one off of Yogg.
Yeah.
So it's possible. We really need an overflow. Did he get the? He did not get the plut. Now he did. He's facing that down.
Well, yeah, because he hadn't taken any damage, so.
Yeah. Overflow? Wild growth. That does not.
That's I
lethal on
believe
board.
game.
So if we play the Anubisath,
Yeah.
what gets through? So he could go 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He still has 8, 9 with hero power.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lose.
Okay. So
Very close. Very close.
Yeah.
I think we were, if we could have survived that turn, we would Wild Growth and Anubisath, and then next turn we probably would have just Yogged.
Right.
And that's really, in those matchups, you push your spells and try for a Yogg out if you can get to 10 mana. We didn't get as much ramp as I would have liked. I would have liked the Wild Growth earlier. We only had the one ramp. So. And that happens. That, like I said, that is a bad matchup.
Yeah.
And right now, aggressive decks are popular because they always are the first week. This guy fights dragons.
Another shaman. So keep the overgrowth, throw everything else back.
Yeah, let's just go for ramp. That won us the game last time.
Yeah, and we're going first.
The Umbral just feels bad.
It does. There's an Innervate, so that helps. So just pass. Yep.
So I want to see a Wild Growth, so I can coin out Wild Growth, and then
overgrowth.
Turn.
Yeah.
And then the following turn after that, our Umbral will be down to 3.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
A Nature Studies would have also been good there.
Yeah, and Nature Studies into an Overgrowth next turn. Yeah, you're right. So Nature Studies or Wild Growth.
Yeah.
You know. This is
Innervate into overgrowth.
I think that's the play. I don't like it. But this at least allows us to Umbral next turn.
Yes, that is true.
And you don't have to get Umbral to 0 to make it useful. I have played Umbral for 5 just so I can, or 4, just so I can corrupt our Moontouch amulet. Wow.
So, Umbral down the 2/2, I guess.
Yeah, for lack of anything else to do. This could be Totem. This could be Totem, and this could also still be the Evolve.
Doomhammer. Okay.
No, this is the enhancement shaman.
Yeah.
So it's aggressive, but it's more of a mid-range list.
So, do we Lightning Bloom into the Carnival Clown to corrupt the Strongman?
So it'll corrupt the strongman, and we can play strongman this turn, and that gives us
Three,
three
four,
four
four
fours and a
taunts
six.
and a 6/6 taunt. Yeah.
I think that's right. I think that's the play. You don't always have to corrupt the carnival clown. Sure, when you corrupt the carnival clown, you're probably winning that game. But 3/4/4s for 9 mana is surprisingly good, especially since they
Yeah.
have. I undervalued this card. I didn't think about it in Druid first, and I didn't think it was going to be that good. Okay, so he got a second torrent,
Yeah.
so we know one of those is getting torrented next turn.
So, I think you Wild Growth, Umbral, and go send 12 to face.
I think so too. One of our taunts are going to be burned down,
That's okay.
but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
We're setting up lethal. If he has to use his face to clear one of these, that's 8 damage he takes, unless he buffs up his weapon. And if he
Right.
clears 2 of them, it's still 8 damage he takes.
Yeah. Yeah. And next turn, we can play the other Carnival Clown.
Oh, it's a torrent. Groundskeeper.
Okay.
So he has a big spell.
So,
We need to use our hero power.
and our hero power, yeah, and
Did we
one
strongman?
to clear.
We use the umbral owl to clear.
Right.
We don't want to use a taunt.
Right. Yes, I think hero power, Umbral Owl to clear, and then play the strong man and attack for 8, which will put him down to 10.
This is definitely not the normal line, but it's the winning line.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to get aggressive. And because we had the ramp early on, we were able to use 9 mana to be aggressive.
Earthquake.
That's what? Barring a 10 drop, we're going to play the Carnival Clown.
Yeah, I agree.
Does he have another?
Does he have another earthquake?
He could have Hagatha's scheme that he's held a few turns. Another earthquake. He already cast a spell. He got off Diligent Note Taker. He can't afford to swing through this with Doomhammer. Even if he does buff it and hit 2 of them, unless he clears the other one, he'll be at 2. Tidal Wave, that doesn't clear.
No.
It allows him to take 8.
Which he will.
He healed for 9, and took 8.
4, 8, 9 damage total.
Well, that's going.
Actually, play the Anubisath to corrupt the Moon Touched.
All it does is give us armor, but
Still. And then hero
it's
power.
another taunt he has to get through.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, this is not the conventional way to win this. And he had a hard time with that tidal wave. I don't think he has another board clear.
Now he can't use his weapon to clear. He dies unless he heals. First.
No, he can't. He'd have to have another tidal wave, and in that case, he's still. Actually, no, tidal wave's really his only real out. I mean, he could earthquake again.
Yeah.
This looks like a Highlander list because he hasn't played any 2-ofs, and he's played cards you wouldn't put in 2-ofs.
He's farsighting. He's digging for an answer.
I think he doesn't have a second earthquake or tidal wave because he doesn't run it. He's not going to have enough mana for this to bail him out. Yeah, the long pick tells me he's.
I've been thinking about building a Highlander shaman.
I mean, it's got promise. It's got 6 mana. Yeah, you think he's making a hot pocket?
No, I think he's
Getting to
I think he's
you.
deciding whether or not he's going to swing in or just
Well, there's a Serpent Shrine, but that's not enough.
not
He needed a
enough.
taunt. He needed a 4-drop taunt or 3-drop taunt. There's not many 3-drop taunts to get.
No, there's not.
And we were drawing into Overflow, so that would have been great.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah,
There we go.
that was nice.
Yeah.
So 2-1.
Sometimes not corrupting is the winning play.
So we went 2-1, and I think we definitely won the first game. We were unfavored.
Yeah.
I think with one additional draw, we could have won the second game.
Okay.
And that third game, we had to play suboptimally, but we were able to pull it off. So I think with some adjustments to the cards, maybe you cut the Umbral Owls, maybe you even go down to a 1 of Cenarian Ward. I don't know. Maybe the Moon Touch Amulets aren't necessarily needed, and you could put some other tools in there to raise the likelihood that you'll get maybe some additional draw. I do know the Guest Awaits. While I did not think they would be good, they are good.
Yeah. Yeah. I really am. The more and more I see Guess the Wait, the more and more I am really enjoying that card.
And as a reminder, I was playing this in Legend, and I am sitting around 6,000 in Legend, so I'm not really high up in the Legend ranks because I've been playing a lot of decks. I just finished a quest. I am a couple hours away from getting my next level. It's cool.
Nice.
Couple hours of play.
Couple hours of play, not
not
hours of sitting in the client.
So probably about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so let's talk about that real quick. And again, I know we're closing up. You're opening your packs. I have played a lot of people on the ladder that literally rope the entire time. And eventually I get your opponent has left and just leaves.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if because of the way this reward track system is, people aren't creating simple macro bots that start a game and just let it time them out, and then start a game and then just let it, so they can just walk away. It's not a complex bot that plays the game for them.
Yeah.
It's just eating them up time in the game so that they can get their reward track.
Right. Yeah, that's completely possible.
Because you can make that simple macro literally using the tools that come with a Razer mouse.
Yeah.
It does not take any complex tools. It's literally about 2 macro lines of code in your mouse program to click a specific spot repeatedly. And that's all it needs to do.
Yeah.
I do not recommend, I do not condone, and I do not do this, but I think from my experience of some of my opponents, literally it goes to like four turns, and then it says your opponent has left, and their portrait explodes.
Right.
And I think
I've had that happen too.
A lot, and it's not just happened once or twice. In the last 3 days, I've probably had it happen at least a dozen times.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to say people are making bots to get around this system, or this progression system that people don't like, but they might be.
Yeah, I can see it. All right, gang, that's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you haven't done so already. For more details about our patron-only Discord, head over to patreon.com/heropower. Till next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys.